Welcome back. Today we're gonna see the damage, how to get damage, and when we die, what is happening. So we're gonna start with the event any damage. So we're gonna take our elt, just plug it right here to do a set, and we're gonna take our elt, we're gonna do extraction, and from that we're gonna plug our elt. So take our elt, plug it right up here, and just plug your damage here. From your elt here, we're gonna search for less or equal, and we're gonna drag from set for your elt and just search for branch, and the condition will be this, so less or equal, and if it's true, well, we're gonna call dead. So we're gonna take all that, do a comment, and so we're gonna put when player receive damages, subtract health. So basically, any damage you're gonna receive is gonna set your new elt according to the damage. So when we receive damage in the other blueprint, it's gonna send a number to any damage, which is gonna subtract that from your elt. And if your elt go at 0 or equal, condition is gonna be true and it's gonna call dead for us. So we're gonna go to dead now, and here in dead, we're gonna do the logic for it. So we're gonna start here and we're going to search for sequence, and we're going to set player is dead. So I should have that in a boolean already here, player is dead. So we're going to try that right here. We're going to set it and make sure we check the box. So if the player is dead, we going to remove basically all the widget on the screen. So remove all widget. So that way we can put our widget after that for you're dead, so we can put that a little bit like any kind of soul game. So after that we can drag from that and we're gonna create that widget actually. So we're gonna create or a widget. So just create widget. We don't have the widget yet, but we're gonna put one. We're gonna do one shortly. We're gonna add that widget to the viewport. So just add to viewport so we can see it on our screen. From that, we want to make sure that when we're dead, we are disabling all the input. So disable input, so we won't be able to move anymore. So that's important. And from that, we're gonna take our capsule collision here. I'm gonna drag it here, and we're gonna also take our mesh and I'm gonna drag that here. So from that, we're gonna search and do set collision enable. I'm gonna plug it right here. I'm gonna take those two, put it there, take the capsule, plug it in the target as well. And we're gonna make sure that we put that to no collision. And from that, we're gonna play an animation. So play animation, and I'm gonna take the one for the mesh. So we're gonna take this one here and make sure that we put that right here. So we're gonna search for the dead one. So you see we have it here, but however it's target for the UE4, so we just have to target to the UE5. So we're gonna go here, gonna do the animation starter pack, and I'm gonna search for dead animation. So you can select the one you want here. So I'm just gonna select the first one, gonna right click on it, and I'm just gonna retarget that animation to the UE5. So UE4 to UE5 here, and I'm gonna change the location to this animation, and I'm gonna put it right here where it should go. So I'm gonna retarget this. Now I have my new animation here, so that's perfect. So I'm just gonna Control S to save that. I'm gonna go back to my player character, and now I can select that animation. So if I type dead, it should be right there. So you can see that there's the one from the animation starter pack, but it's a UE4, so it's not this one. So here, that one here, say it's located in my UE5 animation, so that's this one. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna compile, and now that logic, it's all done. So we're just gonna select all of this. We're gonna do a comment, and basically we're just gonna call that our that logic, and we're all set for that. We're gonna compile that, and we're good. So we just have to create a widget now. So we're gonna create this in our we're gonna create that in our UI here. So where the other widget is, so we're just gonna right click there and do user interface, and we'll just go to widget, and we're gonna use a widget, and I'm gonna call this widget player underscore dead underscore WB for widget blueprint. I'm gonna open that, and on this I'm gonna add a canvas panel. I'm gonna drag it down here, and after that I'm just gonna search for text. So just search for text, and I'm gonna put the text around here in the middle of the screen. I'm gonna here on text content, I'm just gonna select all of that, and I'm gonna click you died like this, and I just want that to be a little bit bigger. So we're gonna here on appearance, and we're gonna go on font, and just change the size that you want, something around those lines. It's fine. Here, when you click on the box, make sure you put size to content. There we go. So you can place that around the middle. So I'm gonna anchor it to the middle. Now I can play with the arrow, try to adjust it as much as I can, something around those lines. And I'm just gonna change the color to a good red, and I'm gonna compile that. So now we're all done with that, so we can just close it and go back to my UE5 blueprint, and now we should be able to select our player dead widget. So we're gonna click this and create, and not create, but compile that, make sure that we plug the return value with the target, and it's gonna fix our error, so everything is good for us. So let's see what else we can do here, because now we want to try that logic if it's working, right? We do have a AI, but the AI doesn't do any damage now. So let's see if we cannot set up the damage to our character, the AI, so we can test our regen logic. Well, we know that this is working, but our dead logic to see if it's work. So let's try to do that. So we're gonna go on our enemy blueprint, and we're gonna go down here, and we're gonna do the apply damage to player. So we're just gonna create, not create, but search for even it. Just take this from even it, so this gonna allow our enemy to do damage to our player. So we're gonna be on the keyboard to do a branch. We're gonna plug that together. So the condition of that, so we're gonna drag from other, and we're gonna search that actor has tag. So I'm using this because I want that the enemy only do damage to the player, not the other enemy. If I don't put anything, the enemy will do damage to enemies, and I don't want that. So I'm just gonna put player in it, and I'm gonna plug that to the branch here. So we need to make sure that we implement the tag that we just created to our character. So we're gonna go back to my UE5, and I'm gonna go under the class default, and I'm gonna search for tag in the top here. You can see there is no element, but we see that it's there. So we're just gonna click on the plus, and I'm gonna make sure that we call this tag player exactly the way the spelling is really important, otherwise it's not gonna work. So player, I'm gonna compile this, go back to my enemy, and we have player this. Now it's just gonna do damage to the player. So if this is true, we're gonna apply damage. So just search for apply damage. the base damage, well, you can put a number here, or you can do a random, right? So it's never going to be the same amount of damage, which I think it's a little bit better. And I'm going to take the random float in range. And from that, we have our maximum and minimum. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another variable, and I'm going to call that enemy base damage. And I'm going to change that to a float. And we're going to compile that. So the enemy base damage, you put the number you want, but for me, I'm just going to put 1. And I'm going to take that and plug it right there. I'm going to create another one, so I'm just going to duplicate this one. And I'm going to call this one max damage. So enemy max damage. I'm going to compile again and plug it right there. So the max damage for our enemy will be 5. There you go. I create variable because when you have more enemies, you're gonna do a child from the enemy base class, which when you're gonna access to default setting, you're gonna be able to modify basically all that from the other blueprint. So you can see here enemy base damage. So when you do a child, you can just change this in your child and you won't have to recreate all that logic, and you just change the number and it's going to do it automatically for you. So you can have different enemies with different input for damage without having to redo codes in each of them all the time. So it's the only reason why I do it that way. From that now, from the damage here, we're gonna play a sound. So we're gonna search for sound. So just drag from it, play sound. I want a sound at the location, not a sound 2D, because the sound 2D it's everywhere. Sound at location, it's exactly where our enemy is gonna be. So we're gonna do this. So play sound at location, and we're gonna promote this sound to a variable. As I said, the same thing, because you can access that to your child blueprint later on and just have to change the sound. So that's pretty convenient. So when you click on sound after compiling, you should be able to search for knife and you take what you want. So I'm going to take the one with the Q just because it gives us a different sound, and we should be able to compile, and this is all good. And the location, well, it's going to be our get actor location. So the sound is going to play where our enemy is. And from that, we're going to drag and search for branch. And the branch will be the condition if our player is dead or not. So we're going to drag our reference to our character, which is my UE5. We're going to do a get. And from that, we're just going to drag and search if is player dead. I'm going to get that. So if the player is dead, so it's mean that's going to be true. So we're going to send back our enemy on patrol. So this should work now. So let's select all of that, do a comment so we can remember what this does for us. So apply damage to player. There you go. Also for that, I'm going to change the color here for a little red. There you go. So let's see if it's worked for us. So we're going to do play. So as soon as the enemy see us, so it's doing sound, but the health, it's not going down. So, but at least you see that the action of the enemy is working, which is perfect. So this, it's working well. So that's great. So we just have to verify the reason why our character doesn't get any damage. So we're gonna go back here, just double check that everything is there correctly for us. So we get the any damage here, we get minus an health. So we have this, the branch, and all that. So this seems great. So we're just gonna confirm. We put a tag earlier, so that's good. That's perfect for that. So let's go back to the enemy here and see what it's not working exactly. And I just found it. Very simple. I forgot to click our order here and put it in damage. Now it should work. So let's try again. There we go. Our enemy. So we're going down. So you see it's random damage. So that's good. And we should be dying shortly. You die, remove the widget. I cannot move, cannot do anything. Perfect. So this is working and the enemy is going back on patrol. Awesome. So I think we're good with that. So it's working for us. So that's perfect. So I'm going to conclude this video there. And in the next one, we're going to see how to have this enemy die and doing damage to this enemy. So I'll catch you in the next one.